Literally. Okay. How do I
Anyway.
present? Okay. Are we ready? Are we streaming? Okay. Cool. Are you guys hyped? Are you guys the
Okay, yeah,
hyped?
we're recording.
Are you
We're
guys
good,
so
we're good.
ready? Jeez. Oh man. All right. We're here. Cool. All right. Lore School with Moosh. Trench edition. Let's go. If you don't know me, hi, I'm Moosh. I live here. Yeah, whatever. I want to yap. So, where did we leave off? We left off on this image right here. All right. It was uploaded to Dema.org on July 8th, and the file name it was uploaded alongside a letter, which I already did a dramatic reading of the letter last week. I won't reread that one. But the file name 212 hinted at the band's new logo, which was the obviously double bars, and the picture was an inverted photo of a body laying on the garbage trench. As we can see here, this is from the beginning of Jumpsuit. Now, this moment in particular has vexed me for 7 years, because this letter, all right? You can see it was written on the back of this picture. Now, the letter is obviously written as Clancy was going through Dema, so it was written during the time he was in Trench. It was written during the time he was in Trench. So he had to have taken this picture, right? So this is where the characters and all of that becomes a bit nebulous, because even right now, we still don't actually know if the Clancy we see in the music videos is actually Clancy. So that's why there's been so much discourse about, whether or not Clancy's actually dead and Tyler is just another person who's like taking his name and stuff. It all started because of this moment right here. And there was an interview that Tyler gave when they came back around this time. I can't find a clip of it for some reason, but he said, or the reporter asked him about Clancy and about Dema.org and all that, and Tyler was like, "How do you know about Clancy?" And he said that he knew of Clancy, but that they came from the same place, and they weren't the same person. I don't know. That's where it got messy, and that's why there's so much confusion now. So this is where it originated from. So we'll just we'll move on from that. So July 6th, 2018. I know I just said that last one was July 8th, but we're gonna ignore that. So the BMI repertoire is a database that stores all music licensed for public performance under the Broadcast Music Incorporated, which is BMI and ASCAP are both performing rights organizations that represent artists when they release their music. So they have to upload their songs to this database to get licensed and stuff, or at least this database just shows those licenses. And it just ensures that they get paid for their work, and businesses have to pay for these licenses to be able to play them in public, pretty much. So if you're a venue or like a bar or something, you have to get a license to play certain music and certain artists. You can't just play willy-nilly. And new song titles are typically uploaded to this database at least a couple of days in advance. I'm gonna drink water. So we've had a lot of songs kind of get leaked, or at least song names get leaked because of this database ahead of the announcement. So that led us to NicoandTheNiners.com. Jesus, that emoji, oh my god. This led us to NicoandTheNiners.com. So the names Jumpsuit and Nico and the Niners were found on this repertoire, and people were just kind of playing around with websites, and they found one that was connected to Warner. And Warner is the overall company that owns the label and Tony Hawk Pilots and basically all of that stuff. So they found this website with all of these dots, and there was 237 dots exactly, which is the exact amount of seconds in Jumpsuit. So it was basically just teasing Jumpsuit, and from time to time it would flash this line from one of the inverted Clancy letters. If we time it right, we can divert the attention of the watchers and finally take the step through. Who counted that? I don't know. we were desperate. So that same day, the eye that closed a year before began to reawaken. So that morning, around 8 a.m., an email was sent out, and it had the title, "Are you still sleeping?" And you can see there's some little clips playing in here. And then the next day, July 9th, they tweeted for the first time in a year. And then the next day, July 10th, they tweeted again. And that was the first look at the new logo. So that brings us to July 11th, 2018, and this was the release of Jumpsuit. What a banger! All right.
Did you buy the BMI license for that?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I'll have to sacrifice my firstborn for that. My bad.
All right.
All right. So, what did we just see? We just saw the act of smearing for the first time. So, smearing is the process of wiping a citizen's memories and distorting their perception of reality around them after they escape. It basically makes them more flexible, more easily manipulated. You can lure them back without too much force. Obviously, unless they resist, in which case you have to drag them back. But basically, this is done by wiping a black substance on the necks of those receiving the punishment. Yeah, it gets kind of dark. So we're gonna talk about the new red letter. I know this didn't come out during Trench era, but it does talk about what just happened, and it gives us a bit of context as to what we just saw, and kind of shows us a bit of just how big of a deal this was in Dima, and how this really made Clancy a figure of interest, if that makes any sense. It was just a very big deal. So let's take a look at it. If I can zoom in a little bit. All right. So at approximately 2:36 LMT on the 3rd day of February 2017, municipal sensors registered a thermal disturbance at grid section 9C North outside primary sector thoroughfare. On-site response units discovered a state-issued transport vehicle. Engulfed in sustained ignition. The vehicle's interior and exterior were rendered unrecognizable, and identifying tags were unrecoverable. Surveillance voids in the 9C quadrant suggest intentional disruption of municipal telemetry, an infraction in direct violation of statute C-22-112B. And as you can see, this was the heavy-duty. This is the car that was just burning. Sustained ignition, tags unrecoverable, and I think this says aided, so that could be the jumpsuit. Obviously, this is about Clancy. Designation unaccounted for, perimeter breach. Breach? What? Sorry. Theoretical reconstruction. So this is what they think happened. It is the working theory of the investigative assembly that the subject of interest coerced or manipulated a DEMA-authorized Bishop-class operator or perimeter guard into unauthorized vehicular passage beyond the eastern gate threshold. At an undetermined point along tract 9C, the subject initiated immolation of the transport vehicle. Visual records confirm total vehicular destruction. The operator's current condition and location remain unknown. No recovery of remains has been verified. Subject Clancy was observed by triangulation data fleeing the incident site on foot toward the ungoverned territory referred to colloquially as Trench. And at the bottom, so underneath this part, the designated incident sentiment. All earthly honor unto the glorious gone, let their ash mark the path of those who remain. Now that last part, the let their ash mark the path of those who remain, we have not seen that until Breach era, so I would just write that down, Put a little tab in your notebook. That's probably gonna be important in a couple weeks. So, all right, covered that, and then as you can see, there are all of these little letters that are kind of enunciated there, and each letter says, "The sun will rise and we will try again." So obviously that's from Truce. Oh, come on, stop it. Let me go. Let me go. Thank you. Okay. July 18th, 2018. We have another letter that I'm going to do a dramatic reading for once I get my script back up, and another drink of water. Everybody take a drink of water right now. That's a threat. All right. I can't believe what I just saw. I'm still trying to understand. This whole time, I thought I was sure that I was all alone, a single soul in this vast, unknown world. But a few days into this trek, I looked down to see a figure headed the same way I was. I've tucked myself in these caves and crevices, trying my best to keep hidden, but he was out in the open, making his exhausted journey right down the middle of Trench. I was curious enough to follow alongside the path with him. He seemed unaffected by the fear of the unknown, the fear that tends to cripple me. To him, the terrain seemed familiar, as if he had been out there before. While lost in my curiosity, they appeared. I had heard about them back in Dima, but to my knowledge, the stories were merely myth. 10, 20, and then what seemed to be 100 Bandidos appeared upon the cliffs, all looking down at him. He only stopped for a moment to look back up at them, and then continued on his way. His energy changed, and I wasn't sure if he was frightened or encouraged by their ominous presence. They warned him of what was about to come. It was a blur. First seeing the figure, then the Bandidos, only to now have my eyes open to the oncoming bishop upon a white horse drawing closer in the distance. The figure halted and waited. When the bishop stopped, I was sure he looked directly at me, so I hid deeper back in a cave. The presence of the robed rider seemed to paralyze the man. He stood still as he was approached, powerless as the outstretched hands smeared his neck. I had never seen a bishop possess power like this. Keon's had always seemed gentle and warm. This bishop, at least out here, seemed like something else. So I ran, and I've been running for as long as my legs and lungs can handle. Maybe this note will be my proof that what I witnessed was not a dream. A million questions raced through my brain. Am I not the only one traveling through Trench? I'll travel a little further, and maybe I'll get a moment of rest tonight. I may have made a mistake leaving. This spot, between two places, is beginning to feel like an endless and hopeless abyss. At least Dima is a place that I know, and at times like this, I miss a lot about what I know. This will all be much tougher than I imagined. Nothing out here is familiar. I witnessed the presence of others for the first time today, and I feel more alone than ever. Cover me. All right. So, recap. Who are the Bandidos? Now, the Bandidos are the Underground Rebel Alliance of Trench, a group firmly dedicated to opposing the authoritarian rule of the bishops and freeing the city from vialism's clutches. They locate citizens trying to escape Dima and help them through into Trench, always honoring those they've lost and fighting for those who remain. They live in the outskirts of Trench, and they have some sick parties that we're going to see in a second, all right? So, Torchbearer. They are led by the Torchbearer. Torchbearer is portrayed by our Lord and Savior, Josh Dunn, and we don't really know much about him at this point, but we do know that his writing is seen on the first journal entry, and he's definitely someone's best friend. I still don't really know for sure whether or not who we see in Nico and the Niners is Clancy, or if it's not. I don't know. But he's friendly with them. So, yeah. But Vialism is a fictional religion said to have been hijacked by the bishops of Dima, and is based around the belief that self-sacrifice is the only way to paradise and redemption, typically with the goal of making the most impact with your own act of sacrifice, pretty much. The Vialism doctrine is what every citizen in Dima is taught to base their lives around. And each year, there is a ceremonial celebration known as the Annual Assemblage of the Glorified. And at the ceremony, enlightened citizens or violists gather to die and become glorified. And after the ceremony, they are prepared and transferred past the glorious vista into the necropolis, and only certain citizens can go beyond this point. We are about to see the Annual Assemblage of the Glorified. So, July 26, 2018, we've got Nico and the Niners, certified banger here. Alrighty. Oh, come on. Let me go to the next. Oh. Okay. So, oh yeah, actually, I wanted to point something out. So, that black liquid that we saw right here, I don't know how it just went directly there. Come on. This is the liquid that is used to smear the citizens. We don't currently have verification that this liquid is made at these assemblages, but currently people are theorizing that line from earlier, the let their ash mark the path of those who remain, there are theories that might be significant in the creation of this liquid. So yeah, so next up we've got Levitate. Levitate was our first victim of the L word. Levitate released on August 8th, 2018. Takes place right after Nico and the Niners. Yeah, so that was the last time we heard from Clancy for the next like 6-ish months. So next up is September 12th, 2018. We've got a complete diversion. So this was actually a really, really cool show. So this was a one-off special performance in London. I think it was at the O2 on September 12th. Oh, wait. Oh my god, wait, Breach is releasing that day. Oh wait, that's kind of crazy. Okay, so a complete diversion marked the end of their performing hiatus. So they hadn't performed anything, hadn't really been seen in public since June of 2017. And the name is obviously derived from the lyric in Nico and the Niners, starting a complete diversion. That's what this show was. And it was also the first time that songs from Trench were performed. So they opened up with Jumpsuit and Levitate, and My Blood and Nico and the Niners were also in there. My Blood was released August 28th-ish, because it was our second victim of the L word. But the music video didn't come out until Trench was released. So we'll talk about that once once we get over there. So October 3rd, 2018, the L word.
And I know that I look really mad, but I'm not really that mad. But Tyler, though, I'm mad, okay? I'm kind of mad. I'm a little bit mad, okay? There's a lot of talk going on. We need to figure it out! Yeah, dude.
There's just a lot of talk, and it was just, Trench may have leaked, and it may have been partially because of the Discord, but it's fine. It's fine. We figured it out. It's okay. So October 5th, a couple days later, Trench released. A Trench is born. They made this, by the way. They are responsible for this. All right. So My Blood.
Twitter. It was a thing.
It was a real thing.
Yep.
Okay. My Blood. God, that video's heart-wrenching. Alright. So, moving on. Trench. So, Trench, the album, featured a rich array of songs, most of which detailing the drive to stay alive through difficult battles and the process of staying on course, even though it is incredibly difficult, because the alternative is far worse. Now, Morph in particular mentions Nicholas Bourbaki for the first time, saying things like, he goes by Nico, he's always trying to stop me, and he's told me I'm a copy, and he also said that Nico was a loser with no friends. That's real and true, and not paraphrased at all. You should go listen to Morph to verify that claim. That did happen. That's real. Exactly like this. October 16th, 2018.
I can confirm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oops. Bandido Tour! Bandido Tour opened up on October 16th, 2018 in Nashville, Tennessee. It was a masterful and ambitious production with advanced light technology, a burning car, and a drop-down bridge that was lowered over the crowd to connect the stages. It brought the story of Trent to the stage, and it was 3 full legs. This was a long tour. But it was just so visually stunning. Like, it was just a gorgeous, gorgeous show. And this visual in particular really, really stood out to me when I was doing my research, just because, just wow. But also, the symbolism here is insane. Just, oh man. Okay. All right. December 13th, 2018, the Bandido Experience. Now, this was a partnership between the band and Spotify, and it was an immersive, interactive experience where you could basically explore Trench and pick up all these different symbols. And we're going to watch it because it was really, really cool. I do want to note, if you are sensitive to flashing lights or anything, this next section may be a bit triggering. If you're sensitive to flashing lights, or if you get motion sick at all, this is going to be a very visually stimulating video. So let's get into it. This era was so cool. It was so neat. Alright. So, as you already picked up on, there were a bunch of symbols at the bottom of the screen. They didn't find all of them, but we're going to go over them. So, the series of symbols were all taken from documents at the Bandido camp. So, these documents give insight into the lives of the Bandidos and their ideology. So, we had the Jumpsuit medallion, we had the Compass E pitchfork, the double bars logo, the vulture, and the FPE badge. And in each one, there was a little notepad page kind of ripped out with it. So the Jumpsuit medallion is an aerial perspective of the world of Trench. This map helps us find our way as we face our journey alone. Amidst great solitude, this circular figure becomes our guide and companion. And the text up here says, the atmosphere's perspective of the world we're lost in. This document of guidance at times feels like my only protection. Cover me. And you can see in here, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So it's labeled. So torches are right here. So this is where Jumpsuit happened. Bandido presence, I'm going to say this is probably where the camp is, and then the stream is right here. So torches were all up here. This is really cool. All right, let's go fit it out. Next one. No, don't do that. Oh, don't start this again, please. There we go. Okay. Compass E pitchfork. So that's the East is up symbol. So symbolizing the overturning of the false compass of Dima, the Bandido underground recognized the flipped E as an insignia of truth being revealed. We utter the code East is up as a message of unity, truth, and the rebellion against the oppressive forces of Dima. And the note says, monuments of exaltation are nothing but the glory of an early grave. Let us flip our perspective to find truth. And this is one of the images that they were showing in the teaching segment in the Overcompensate music video. So that's kind of cool. So, the double bars logo. Steadfast in our rebellion against the teachings of vialism, we turn their false doctrine upon its head. Protected more than ever, the double bars are a symbol of life and hope. So the page says, the necropolis glorifies the early graves of those who lost themselves along the way. Let us overturn this concept as a symbol of dedication to and celebration of life. For some reason, my brain is still having a hard time processing the end of that, but yeah. So the vulture. So the vulture is a very, very big one. So we are vultures. The vulture sees both worlds, devouring death, a symbol of our responsibility to turn death into life. May we learn from what we've lost and commit to living. And the note says, the fear and pain shall not be elements that stop us, but what feeds us to persevere. The vultures above are a symbol of turning death into life. And then the FPE badge. Those who see corruption inside the lies of Dima feel a responsibility to get out, and attempted escape should be honored. Many are punished with the failed perimeter escape badge, but wear it proudly. It is their symbol of the Bandido underground, the few, the proud, and the emotional. And the note says, we shall call our label of delinquents by a new name. This is who we are, and let us never be ashamed by the penalty placed upon us by false authorities. All right, and that's basically what they believe. They believe that, Dima sucks and it's got to go down, pretty much. And they're very committed to the notion of hope as opposed to the notion of death. So January 2nd, 2019, we've got this really, really long letter from Clancy that I'm going to read. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so it'll be easier for you guys to see it. All right. I can't face this page for long enough to write what I'm truly feeling. I am only wrought with more questions. Questions about what I assume to be true. Questions about what my own path is. And the question that has plagued me every night that I lie here, back in city. Did I give up? The force I saw between him and his bishop seemed tense to me, and frightening. But the memory of that exchange has had time to fester and replay in my mind long enough that I'm questioning if I even remembered it correctly. I assumed that the bishop was forcefully retrieving his subject, but now I wonder if the bishop was actually trying to save him, and he refused. I stayed out there for 5 days after I watched it happen. I haven't seen him since. Maybe he got away and was still out entrenched with me. Maybe the bishop chased him down and brought him home. Home? Did I just call this place home? After all of the endless beauty that I saw out there, am I now convincing myself that I'm actually better off within these confines? I admit, it was more difficult than I expected. Nothing could have prepared me for how much the unknown can consume me. Vast landscapes and endless possibilities, yet coupled with endless danger. I became anxious. I became tired. I became hungry. Every step I took became harder than the last, jumping from jagged rocky step to step, or pulling myself through thick forest. It all became debilitating, and I was sure that I couldn't go on. Keon's approached as the sun rose one morning. I wasn't scared. I was relieved. After all that he had taught me, his presence was the most comforting moment that I had in days, and I couldn't help but be happy to see him. In true Keon's fashion, he wrapped his arms around me and then put his hands under my face, looked me in the eyes, and said, "Clancy, child, let's go home." I've been here for a few weeks now, and while the routines of this world are comforting, and certainly easier than life out there, my mind keeps bouncing between the two places. Which one is home? Are the bishops protecting me, and the torches upon the hilltops dangerous? Or is it the other way around? My dreams pull me from world to world, and I feel lost in between all of it. There is still so much I do not understand. Zoom back out. For some reason, I don't actually know what that code said. what the letter? What does anyone remember what those letters said? All the double letters. While I pull up the wiki.
I was about to do the same thing.
Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Hang on. I don't know why I didn't write that down. Fifth journal, okay. It says... Oh, does it just say Ned?
So deep Ned
Oh yeah,
Bayou.
so deep Ned Bayou. Alright. So it says so deep Ned Bayou. Hinting at... Oh no, that's not... Come on. January 23rd, 2019. The release of Chlorine, which we're gonna watch right now. Alright. Let me out. Let me out. No, that's not it. We'll get there. Okay, so Ned. So Ned is short for Narrow Expansion Device. He is a strange little creature, typically only found on a distant island in a trench, of which we will learn more about that in a couple weeks. He likes to swim, and chlorine causes his antlers to grow. Here's my script. Okay. So yeah, he's a sweet little shy guy. You know, he just likes to swim. But basically, he grows these big antlers that the bishops typically farm for their own sinister uses. We'll learn more about that in a couple weeks. So, the whole song refers to chlorine as being poisonous, a venom, a chemical, clearly something that should not be put in your body. However, it's a moneymaker. It's manipulative. It makes you feel invincible and makes certain parts of you grow, but in reality, it's just harming you. Ned's growth in the pool of poison is no coincidence. And Tyler/Clancy, whoever that is, filling up the pool for Ned to swim in with all that poison is no coincidence. Everybody keeps telling me that this music video is not lore. It doesn't have any bearing on the lore, but it does. It does. But yeah, so Ned was later found to be involved in espionage and collusion with the Rebel Alliance. We'll get into that. He's interesting. All right, you ready? July 26th, 2019. Don't believe the hype, guys. Okay. So, I do want to point out, everybody always says that this music video doesn't have any lore implications or anything, but I want to point out the sheer amount of plaid that's in this music video, and I also want to point out the fact that Clancy was wearing plaid all throughout the Scaled and Icy livestream while he was being seized and everything. And then, if you remember Snap Back, the music video for that was literally the epitome of a backslide, and pretty much like, oh, how do I describe this? But basically, you know how in Snapback he's talking about a backslide and stuff, but he's literally draped in plaid in the Snapback music video and shaving his head and everything. So I'm just saying, the sheer amount of plaid and the presence of Ned here. Hang on, where is he? Where's a little freak? Also, everyone here is wearing plaid. Ned is wearing plaid. We'll find him. We'll find him. There he is. There, yeah, he's wearing plaid. So, I'm just saying. It's a little important. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Okay. Anyway, so pop quiz time, guys. Are you ready? Are you guys prepared for this? Oh, I gotta get my music up. I don't think you guys are ready for this. Pop quiz. All right. Should have studied. Who is Nicholas Bourbaki? Is he A, Tyler's old basketball coach, B, Brendan Urie, C, a group of French mathematicians writing new math curriculums under a pseudonym, or D, a security guard who works the night shift? Give you about 10 seconds. Alrighty, if you chose C, a group of French mathematicians writing new math curriculums under a pseudonym, you would be correct. Nice job, everyone. What is the HTTPS error code on Dima.org? Is it A, 503 error? Is it B, 404 error? C, 200 error? Or D, a 504 error? 10 seconds. Alrighty, if you chose B, a 404 error, you are correct. Very nice job.
You're wrong. It's 200 means okay. It means success. It's not error.
I know. That's why it would have been wrong if you chose it. What is vialism? Is it A, a religion that worships an almighty alchemist who invented the glass vial? Is it B, the act of making glass tubes? Is it C, a hijacked religion based around the belief that self-sacrifice is the only way to paradise and redemption? Or D, a strong attraction towards glass vials? 10 seconds. Alrighty, if you chose C, a hijacked religion based around the belief that self-sacrifice is the only way to paradise and redemption, you would be correct. Now, what do the Bandidos believe? Is it A, vialism is a false doctrine, Dima is an oppressive force that must be taken down, and there is a responsibility to turn death into life? Or B, Dima should have more parties, people escaping are lame, and they want to go back to Dima? Is it C, Nika was cool, and they want to be friends? Or D, Trench is perfectly safe, and there's definitely nothing you have to protect yourself from? 10 seconds. If you chose A, vialism is a false doctrine, Dema is an oppressive force that must be taken down, and there is a responsibility to turn death into life, you would be correct.
Oh,
Now,
I would
what
think
is...
it might be B with the Saturday music video.
True. All right. What is the BMI repertoire? Is it A, a catalog of plays that the Body Mass Index was involved in writing? B, a global database for every piece of music licensed for public performance? Or C, a new social media platform? Or D, a leak of the 21 Pilots mailing list? Alrighty. If you chose B, a global database of every piece of performance or every piece of music licensed for public performance, you would be correct. Nice job, everyone. All right, December 13th, 2019, the end of the Bandido tour. Now, Bandido tour ended on December 13th, 2019 in Chicago. The fourth leg was scheduled for spring of 2020, however, it was canceled due to the COVID-19 pandemic. This utterly astounding tour closed off one of the craziest eras the band has ever had and laid the groundwork for something even crazier. What is happening? No. Oh god. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.